Let's go, everybody. It is February 6th, 2024, and this is episode 22 of the LA Poker Roundup. And man, it's been a busy week. We are going to start off this episode, as always, with whatever results we could get our hands on from the last week, which means the results from the big 40-40 tournament over at Commerce and a couple other results we were able to find.
Also, we're going to talk about how the week at the Commerce didn't actually run very smoothly from an operations perspective, and we'll talk about kind of what happened there.
Yeah, it was very jarring compared to normal. And then, the big news that we'll talk about after that, why? Well, we just heard about it today. DJ is actually no longer at Commerce, and we're going to dig into that.
That is some big news. And with that, that's would be a good segue to talk about, what are tournament directors for? Like, what do they bring to the community? And then we'll also talk a little bit about the future of LA tournaments, not only the Commerce, but everywhere. And we have a lot of people in the community expressing concern, including us, right? Almost our entire last episode was talking about some of the concerns that we have about the underinvestment in poker in LA.
Yeah, and then at the end, we'll take a minute. We'll do a little bit of looking around poker Twitter for our rumor mill. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped a moment. We're still looking around poker Twitter. But the thing we're going to talk about here is the procedural error. In town for the LAPC is Mr. Chainsaw Alan Kessler. And you know what? He approves of the mixed game structure that that they are running down there. However, not everybody's in agreement. So we're going to talk about that and do a little debating.
And then, as Ty mentioned, there will be a rumor mill featuring stuff that's going on with Ryan and Garret, as well as some other stuff that's happening in the poker community between like Berkey and Daniel Negreanu. And then just there's a lot of chaos going on in poker even outside of LA over the last week.
And then, of course, as always, we will wrap up the show with the weekly roundup. Okay, so let's just jump right in. So this week, we were not able to get the results from everything, as we usually are, and it's pretty disappointing for us. We love these big series because we get to highlight all the local winners from all these things, but if you've noticed, the last week we haven't been able to get a ton, but luckily, a lot of our friends have been getting trophies. I don't know, Derek, I think you may have inspired them. I mean, take a look at this picture. How is this not, if that's not saying Derek made me do it, I don't know what is. So the results we were able to get for the winners last week. Congratulations, Mr. Anthony Patessa. Frank was in the chat giving us the blow-by-blow last Tuesday while we were doing the show that he was Final 4, Final 3. He ended up taking that Omaha 8 event down. So congratulations to him. That was the Omaha 8 last Tuesday. And then after that, last Thursday night, Adam Kipnis, am I saying that right? He took down his second Remington of the series in the toe event. I think in the chat that day he was saying he still wasn't quite convinced that he's not an imposter at these mixed games, but if he won a second trophy, he would reconsider. So
so there he goes.
Yeah, I sure hope you're reconsidering, bud. And then what day is it? So then Sunday night in the one day fun day, Franklin. He was giving us the blow-by-blow for Patessa the other week, but he took one down himself, and he got the win and what looks like his third lifetime Remington, but first of the series in that one-day event. So congratulations to Frank. Congratulations to all these guys have popped in the chat before. So obviously that means come in here, hang out, pop in the chat. It's going to increase your chances of winning a Remington big time, especially if you tease Derek about it.
Yeah, and Frank is having some kind of run because the day before I think he final tabled, and I think they ended up chopping where he ended up doing second after some crazy like 10-handed Omaha like flip, which he showed us a video for, which was actually really funny. But Frank, just final tabled twice and just shipped the tournament. So really amazing run by him and good results, good player obviously, and I'm a little upset, that people are winning Remingtons and I still can't get one. But I am glad that our poker friends are shipping in. I'm, obviously super happy for the success, and everything I'm saying is a bit tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
I'm actually not going to murder you in your faces. But as Ty mentioned, it does seem like there's a little bit of a cheat code right now. Come and tell me about your imposter syndrome, and it looks like you're going to ship a Remington within the next week.
Yeah, get on here, get in the chat, tell us how bad you're running and how you just can't seem to win, or just how you don't think you're going to win, and bam, you're going to get a trophy. I almost guarantee it. Get in there. So Kipnis might be going for his third. He says he's going to win this event tonight. So
oh my God.
He just jumped in the chat and said to stay tuned. He's going to win EO tonight. So whoo.
I take that back. If you win, I am going to murder you in the face.
We were talking about that quite frequently whenever we were all in the money or cashing in event. Shout out to Jesse. Welcome, Jesse, jumping in the chat there, saying hi.
What's up, Jesse?
So those are the events we were able to see. However, luckily, we have this great coverage in the Commerce blog. If you haven't checked out the Commerce Poker blog, please do so.
Yeah.
Especially on the weekends when Kevin is in, he's giving us great coverage, covering big hands, covering chip stacks and bust outs. He's been doing a great job of that. My one suggestion, Kevin, is while you're there, and to everybody because somebody's posting the just what's happening during the day, but to everyone who's touching that, please post us the winner photos, post us the names, please, because I was really hoping to go on the blog and find some more winners, but they seem to be posting kind of towards the end of the day, and then they would lose track of some of the smaller events at the very end. So that's my only suggestion there. But we did get a lot of great coverage. A lot of great coverage of the 40-40.
You got Y Shot in chat. I punted a chance late in the one-day Sunday, feeling like an imposter. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Coming in the chat, trying to get the Remingtons.
Mark it. That means he was there. I hope you aren't the fella that Frank hit the royal flush on. I think it was that day. So, so let's get to the 40-40 here. Congratulations, Edberto Pilotin, winning this thing outright. Eddie is a big San Diego reg. He is down representing, and I saw his tweet. He said he's proud to represent the San Diego players. Guys like Big Kev, and he hits us up on Twitter all the time as well. Yeah. Players like some other ones, Anastasia Knapp. Bunch of San Diego grinders love to come up to these larger events and get in there. And congratulations to Eddie. This score actually is almost double his total Hendon score. So this is going to be a real launching point. I think he's been having a pretty good last year playing in the Run Good series. He primarily is playing down in Hamul and Siquan, and he is this is just a great way to start the year. So congrats, Eddie.
Yeah, this is a big one. And I mean, I know you're going to go over this in a second, but to beat this final table is something else, man.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about this final table. I mean, I think it's a real good indication. These are pretty good structures that a lot of these final tables they've been stacked, right? Yeah. So this final table, and once again, also no chop, right? So this final table, let's just run it down. So this final table, starting in 9th place, we had Jeff Potts. 8th place, Anthony Bartz. 7th place, Michael Casella. 6th place, Brendan Baksh. 5th place, Justin Henry. And now we get to some names and faces I was much more familiar with. 4th place, Leo Lee.
Another reg. I was playing a lot of tournaments around the area.
Exactly. Yep, a guy fella I recognize playing with quite a bit. And then Jared Greiner for 3rd, a name I have said probably more than anyone else is on this pod, I feel like, for getting into these final tables. And then in 2nd, Sohali Khalili. Just chopped up.
Yeah, Sol. Yeah.
Just chopped up the 1K there in January at the Gardens, yeah?
And we talk about Jared and Saul all the time because they show up on these things. But I think it's important to note, you don't see these guys grinding the one days. They're not out there every day. They just kind of show up for the big ones, but they always go deep. I'd like to thump my chest about my very high cash rate, right? I was actually really disappointed that I didn't cash anything over the weekend. I was like, what the hell happened? What's wrong with me? But these guys, I feel like they have a higher cash rate than me. They're always there. They're always deep. They're always at these final tables. And it's interesting, strategically, because I keep saying how I'm going more towards the bin wang direction, where I'm not trying to be a complete spaz, but I am trying to take marginal risks to get a lot of chips. These guys, it's not like they don't take risks, and they're not nits, right? They're very good, solid players, but absolutely. They just play very patient, mistake-free poker. They're just mistake-free, rocks, right? And they just slowly accumulate chips. And usually when they get busted out of a tournament, I always see some sort of massive backbeat being put on them. So they are kind of showing the other side of it. Hey, you can be very, very successful in these tournaments without going super spaz and super aggro like a bin. But yeah, that's what we love about poker, right? So many different ways to play.
Yeah, but don't be fooled. It's not that these guys are playing particularly tight. They are still killers, and they are still taking advantage of every edge. I remember the one time that I played any significant poker, I think I played the opening day one table with Jared once, and then the only other time I really played with him was in the previous 1K at the Gardens. And I remember when we were on the day, the bagging up bubble, I was straight to his left. It was one of the very last hands. We were literally on the stone bubble, and there was a short stack all in from the big blind. I was on the button. He was on the cutoff. Garret opened. Because we're on the bubble, I flatted because we had a very short stack with about like less than 2.5 big blinds in the blinds. So I just flatted with an ace. Short stack just gets in there. In fact, he might have even been all in. It was very close. He was forced all in more or less. So Jared's in there. We check it to the turn, and he bluffs me off of a king high board with queen high, and I felt it right from the get go that I had him beat. That my ace high was good, and he don't care. If I called there, he would have bagged up like 8 big blinds. He doesn't care. He's getting the chips, and he knows that I know that it's the bubble. And since I didn't jam my ace, which was the other thing you probably should do in that spot, because Jared was opening frequently with middling stack. We had middling stacks. Since I didn't do that, I was kind of giving him the light that, hey, I'm kind of trying to just bag here without too much risk. So he's going to get the chips. So they're playing solid, but they know exactly where to take the edges.
Exactly.
So
it's like these guys know their bluff frequencies. I'm sure it's a bit higher if they're not playing in some of these mid stakes ones, but yeah, if they see an advantage, they're going to go take it. So yeah, just a lot of respect for these two dudes.
Yep. So we have Edgar Gonzalez in the chat saying that we need an LA or OC player to win the main for LAPC. We'll chat a little about the main later, but obviously that would be great. I
feel like it's going to be an LA or OC player because, again, people aren't traveling. We'll talk about it again, but people are not traveling here to play the LAPC, so it will most likely be an LA or OC player. So
yeah. And Xander, hi, waving hi in the chat. I hope you're feeling a little better,
What's
man.
up, Xander?
Xander's still been sick.
Man,
He got knocked out by that thing.
Jeez, you've been sick. You still have COVID, dude? You're still sick from that? Man.
Yeah, it's something. So it's funny you say people aren't traveling because for the most part, I agree they're not. However, this week, I speculated about it last week. I said, hey, when these 1K mixed events come around, might we see a little chainsaw action? And
this is true.
Behold,
this is true.
Kessler has come to town. He came to town. He's playing in the 1Ks here. He said he was going to play in at least 3 of these events, and he cashed the first one that he came to play in, the 1100 Omaha 8. He got, what did he get? 3rd place. So congrats, Mr. Kessler, coming in and getting 3rd place in these, as he said in an earlier tweet, chainsaw approved structures, which, like we said before, we will talk about in a little bit.
And we will talk about chainsaw approved structures, but yeah, it actually is encouraging, right? That obviously mixed events are a little bit harder to find, especially ones that you get Remington, especially when there are 1K, a whole bunch of 1K mixed events that are happening this week. And as you also mentioned, just the structures overall for this LAPC have been incredible, even for the lower buy-in. So much play late. I actually still don't really understand what's going on because it doesn't feel rushed at any point in the tournament, but they're still kind of finishing all at reasonable time. So it really is some sort of magic that's going on.
Yeah, they should definitely save these structure sheets and just keep them somewhere. Like, this is a good starting point for sure.
Yeah.
Dang, Xander. Xander says he's got a chest infection. We feel for you, man. Take care of that. That could get dangerous. I hope you feel better soon, man. Okay, so we forgot to mark this down, but I'll just quick talk about my weekend. I did cash that 40-40. I can say I have the honor of losing a decent number of chips to the eventual winner. So once again, my streak of losing chips to a buddy and having them go on to win, still strong. He did not bust me because I was suspicious that he was running so good. He rivered 2 pair on me in one random hand that wasn't that important, but he already had a huge pile, and I was being careful. So I cashed. I think I got 63rd. I came into the day with a slightly above average stack. I came in with 650K. Average was 400. And an interesting thing, the Be Like Bin was flashing through my head a couple times in the early goings because I had a lot of very annoying situations in that I was at a table with 2 over 1 million stacks. So I think 2 of the people at my table were probably top 5 stacks or top 6 stacks going to the day. In fact, the chip leader was one of them. And man, when these guys were in a raised pot pre and they had jacks or queens, or I assume ace king, but they had jacks or queens against me, they didn't care how many chips anyone had. They were all in. So these guys were, the blinds were like 12K and I'm facing 800K raises all ins. And I'm sitting here, unfortunately, with ace king just feeling like a nit. And I did not take the flips. Maybe I should have. Be like Ben. If I win, I have the chips. I can go. But I did not. I did not find a better spot later. My queens got cracked. And
I just want to say to all you folks out there, it's not necessary to you see like something like a 2x raise, 6x 3-bet, and then jam for 50 or something, or jam for 60.
Yeah.
You're completely nullifying the fact that we have good structures by doing that, because you're making a deep stack tournament a short stack tournament. And maybe it's to your benefit if you're not comfortable playing deep stack, but it does completely defeat the purpose of having like these really, really well structured tournaments.
That's why it was so frustrating.
Yeah.
I come in with an over average. You know what? I started the day with like 80 bigs, and like in the second level, this guy's jamming 75 bigs on me. And I'm like, what are you doing? I want to play poker.
I mean, and also, like, a quick poker lesson, like when you do that, you're only going to get called by better, and then you're never going to get value from your hands when you do stuff like that. So just don't be jamming in their 60 or 70 blinds. This is, try to follow a little bit of like a 3x, 4x, methodology or something.
Yeah, we do recommend you study up a little more in the normal 3-bet pots and playing in them instead of doing that. However, this is how they got all those chips to come in the day that way. And
this is
if you hadn't put the time in yet, or if you hadn't studied and you are uncomfortable in the spots, maybe it is just best to rip with queens out of position for 8x the 3-bet.
I mean, the thing is, you're gonna get people to fold like tens, and right, but you have dominated, and you're gonna get snapped caught by aces and lose your big stack. It's just very, very silly to do. So I would recommend not doing such a thing.
Frank says that he is going to be wearing a suit of armor next weekend when he sees you, Derek, because he still doesn't believe you will not murder him in the face. That last part was just implied.
You missed it. You missed it earlier, where I expressed my happiness for my poker friends shipping all these Remingtons. Adam Kipnis is going to get murdered in the face though if he does ship tonight. You're safe.
Yep. And then the other thing I did this weekend, so I actually went and played on Thursday to try and get an extra shot at bagging because there were no evening flights for this 40-40, and I managed to bag on the first one. So this was my first bag of a multi-dare for LAPC. I must have jinxed you because you bagged both of the others and I have not, so clearly there can be only one. So since I had already bagged, I went down to the Gardens to play in their daily on Saturday, and I got to, I think, 15th or 14th place there. So I keep stacking up these kind of final 2 table runs at these tournaments this year, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm kind of too much of a pragmatist, or I'm kind of too even keeled to call myself an imposter here, and but I might do it just so that I can break through and get the trophy, because it does seem to be working. It really does.
It's free money.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just gonna have to put it out there. I'm gonna put out a tweet later and say like, man, another top 15 finish and no final table, no trophy, man. I must stink. I can't possibly win. I'm terrible. I'm gonna put that out there right after the show.
Make sure you tag me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course. If I don't tag you, it doesn't work, right?
It doesn't.
Okay. So the other thing that happened though on day 2 of the 40-40 that was very out of character was that we actually started 40 minutes after the designated time. We didn't start cards in the air until like were we there 11? So like 11:35.
I mean, this is the kind of thing that happens at the bike, man.
Exactly. Yeah, I felt like I was at the bike, so I was walking around saying, "Guys, where am I? Is this a bike tournament? Like, what's going on? Are we allowing day 2 buys here? What's happening?"
Yeah,
so
man, Commerce is on the dot all the time.
It was very frustrating. We had a lot of players walking around. We had Craig walking around, Jared walking around. Everybody really, really getting antsy. And apparently, what happened was that they calculated the prize pool incorrectly at the beginning of the day. And when I heard that, so I'd been very patient. After a half hour, I started walking around. When I heard that, I threw out a suggestion, guys. We can play if you don't know the prize pool. We don't need to know what the prize pool is. Just let us.
That's a very
just
very
start dealing and don't cash
right.
anyone out. Right? Just tell them you got to wait a half hour to be cashed out. Get in line. It's fine. We'll find something to do. I don't know if that tipped them or what, but we did start soon after that. They might have just been finally finished calculating it, but I think it had something to do with double bags. They miscounted double bags or something like that, and things were weird. However, that wasn't the only kind of misstep or a little clunky thing happening at Commerce this week, right? So you had been, I messaged you earlier in the week, and you said that the alternate line was uncharacteristically long, and
yeah, I mean, it was actually that the room, it was this day, the last starting day, right, of the 40-40. There were 3 rows of empty tables, like just, nobody playing their dealers, right? And there was an alternate line, 10 or 15 people deep, right? On the Saturday, when it's going to be huge, like day 1.
Turnout.
it just doesn't make any sense. And I think I heard, some of the floor people tell me, dealers need a day off, and I'm like, okay, well, I agree. We don't want dealers to burn out, but maybe, give them a day off during a week, right? Instead
Yeah.
of like on that Saturday. So I understand there's like kind of scheduling and operational stuff, but it was really frustrating having people sit around trying to wait and get to a table when half the room was empty.
Yeah, and we were not the only ones noticing kind of different less than smooth things going on this week, right? So Sean, you put out this
Yeah.
tweet that he hasn't seen the results updated, and we obviously have noticed that too. We couldn't bring you all the results because they are not being posted on the website in a timely manner. It's been over a week. And he also
Yeah.
pointed out that the player of the series um, sheet has not been updated in that same amount of time, right?
It's so important to keep the player of the series updated because everyone has to know where they are, so they kind of decide whether or not to put in that volume, right? So it's just it's very annoying to have a player of the series without having updates.
Yeah. So what it appeared is one thing that I didn't notice till the second time I went is DJ had taken the week off. Our tournament
Yeah.
director, DJ, that we all love seeing there, but he had taken the week off and he wasn't there even on Sunday. So man, it was awkward without him. I gotta say it was really awkward without having him
Yeah.
around. Here is everyone while we were sitting there waiting. We had time to get on our phones, do some tweeting. Jared was up there complaining about this thing going slow and not starting, and we have Craig in the in the responses there talking about how this is really starting to these kinds of things will turn people away from or off from wanting to come and play in these events, right?
Right. Right.
There's a lot of money at stake. We want to know that things are being run smoothly, that things are are going as they should, right? And
Yeah.
we're starting to see some shouts like, "Hey, where's DJ? Get him back in here. We need DJ. This thing's smooth. This never happened when DJ was around, right? When DJ was running things and in the room helping things out, right? So
Right.
so so what happened? What or rather yeah, let's see. So not it wasn't just and it wasn't just Craig. We have other people who were walking around the room and complaining about well, not complaining, but rather management was in the room, and we had people walk around just kind of saying like, "Hey, where's DJ? He had so much value here." We had a lot of people talking in support of DJ. So
Yeah.
it's really weird because Commerce really it feels like they've been doing some good stuff, right? They brought Kevin on to do the coverage just 2 weeks earlier.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yep.
Kevin's doing a great job there.
We love Kevin.
Yeah, they hired they brought on a new marketing manager, right? Someone you're familiar with.
Yeah, Amanda. So people who don't know Amanda Botfeld, Botfeld, she was a very successful author who turned into a poker player, and then she did a lot of stuff for poker. I think she was teaching some sort of like poker class at a university somewhere. She was involved with Poker Power back in the day, which was this like cider initiative or group that was bringing like women into poker. And she's very much a poker insider. We would consider her a poker player, a poker peer, but now she is the marketing communications manager at the Commerce. So this is fantastic that we have somebody who's actually a poker player now working in the industry, working at the Commerce. And so she's there now, and it looks like this is her first week, and she's kind of getting started. But she's been kind of messaging us a little bit about kind of like what's going on and what to expect. But yeah, it's really great that it does seem like Commerce is doing some good things.
Yeah, and they did put out a official quote unquote statement on some of these kind of delays, right?
Yeah.
And here it is. They said that we hear your concerns. We will post updated tournament results and leaderboard rankings shortly. We apologize for this inconvenience, and we thank you for your patience. Our commitment is to serve the LA poker community with the reliability, organization, and excitement you are accustomed to here at the Commerce. So that's their official statement on kind of some of the complaints that we're having this weekend, right?
Yeah.
So
So it's nice for them to put that out there. So like maybe the most urgent thing right now is let's get the results up because people want to see the results. Let's get the player of the series up so that people can understand where that is. So at least from it seems like explicitly from the Commerce and also what Amanda is telling us is somebody will be covering that stuff, and you should be seeing updates on that shortly.
Yep. And as Xander points out, Hendon Mob updates haven't been going out either. So all
it's
these
another
things
one.
that we're accustomed to being pretty on the ball. I always thought Commerce during the series was one of the fastest.
It was very
places
well run,
to
top to bottom,
to
floor
have
on top of everything. Yeah.
Yep, to have
Yeah.
updates, to get the information out, etc. So I messaged DJ, where have you been? What's going on? When are we going to see you again and all of that? And he told me that this is what I can tell everyone. He said that um, he is no longer at Commerce, but he sent every dealer and floor man a personal message to thank them for their hard work and friendship. So that was a real shocker.
Yeah,
DJ
that's
is
a big
not
one.
at Commerce anymore. He's no longer, I guess he's no longer their tournament director. So, wow.
Yeah, it's huge, huge news. Obviously, we all love DJ. He was a great tournament director, listened to the players, was always on our side and everything. So we obviously give him a shout on Twitter, reach out and send him your best wishes. I'm sure he's going to land somewhere really great because he's an excellent, excellent tournament director.
Yeah, please get if you love DJ, put out some messages on Twitter, tag him, tag Commerce, just let him know that we do still support him. So that was kind of a big shock this week. I felt like that was a really surprising
Yeah,
move in the middle of LAPC. Now we all know he
right.
works his butt off during LAPC. I remember a
He
couple years
does.
ago we made a joke about like, oh, no tournaments in the Super Bowl, and he was like basically crying. He's like, I need a day off. Um, but honestly, over the last few years, especially since COVID, every time I'm talking with him and trying to give him suggestions, and he's listening and he's talking about what he's facing, and I'm talking to my other friends about that. We're always kind of really sympathizing with him and feeling like, God, his job must be so frustrating, right? Because,
Yeah,
for instance, guarantees, right? Everyone's always whining about commerce guarantees, commerce guarantees. Well, we all know it's not DJ's fault. DJ wants to put bigger guarantees out.
yeah.
He
He's,
wants
we
he
know he's fighting for it.
but he doesn't have the authority. He isn't allowed to put the bigger guarantees on, right? And for instance, the ballroom, they won't give him the ballroom. They won't give him the good locations, and that's that's extremely frustrating when you want to put on good events because that's like the number one
Yeah.
thing people
What's that
people
area
want.
downstairs again called?
The
The
gallery, the
gallery.
gallery,
It's
must be the
a
gallery.
horrible. It's like this
Yeah,
corner, bad lighting. It's a hallway. People. The thing is, every time you walk down there, those tables are empty, right? Because obviously nobody's using them, and that's where they were sticking us when they
yeah,
didn't have the
exactly.
ballroom. It's just horrible.
And he he had to petition hard to get the player of the series to be a thing this time. So,
Yeah, yeah,
he has all these things he wants to do to try and encourage people to play, to be loyal, to come in, and it just felt like he
yeah,
was constantly being told no. He was constantly being handcuffed. He was constantly kind of being had someone over his shoulder saying no, you can't. And it
yeah,
felt like, it felt like well, that's why I'm saying it felt like a really frustrating position to be in. If you have great
yeah,
ideas, just not be able to do them. If you're listening to what the players say we want to be in the ballroom, we want big guarantees, and you just can't do it because the management won't work with you,
yeah.
man. But
Yeah. And he also I remember he had a bit of outreach, right, to content creators, to influencers to try to get them, anybody that was like poker content creators, remember that? I don't know, it was like last LAPC, but he was trying to do that as well because he knew like, the sort of virality that you get with that type of promotion. So he was doing a lot of stuff, right? And he's also very experimentative with like a lot of the formats that he's doing. So it's yeah,
yeah, he was
good
actually
TD.
trying stuff. Like he was putting in effort. He wasn't just like recycling the same exact formats and structures every time he's mixing it up. And like we said, this LAPC, the structures are so great feeling. He found something here, and a lot of other people just stick to their same structures. So I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Commerce is they probably have someone temporarily filling the spot. They might be looking for a replacement or whatnot, but I don't see how anyone could possibly jump in and do as good a job as
Uh,
DJ was doing in less. No knock on whoever it is, but DJ was
right.
just a part of this community. Like I can't
Yeah,
see anyone
he's
being able to fill that void in less than a year.
Yeah, dude, there's levels to this game, and DJ's definitely up there among the top TDs. We also got Scala in chat saying COVID forever changed the LA poker scene, and you're right, right? So since COVID happened, right, that's when everything like took a big nosedive. But we can't use COVID as cover anymore, right? Like COVID's obviously still around, but the lockdowns and everything that impacted poker has not been around. And when you look around us, and we covered this last episode, everywhere across the United States, across the world is absolutely booming right now,
Yeah.
right? They have put COVID in the rearview mirror by like thousands of miles, and we can't still be breathing on those fumes and using that as an excuse, right? We need to step up.
Yeah, record fields everywhere across the country at the
Right,
World Series, at the
right.
WPT, in freaking Missouri or Mississippi. I forget where. Biloxi is, but
yeah, Mississippi. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Mississippi. Like I gave the population numbers. You guys should watch the last episode. I put it up on Twitter. Our population in just Southern California is bigger than some states, right? That are getting numbers similar to us, and that's just absurd.
Yeah. So, and here's the problem. We have a lot of people in chat like Scala and Jesse saying, commerce management, commerce kind of upper people. They have no vision. They are not supporting. They're not supportive. And I would tend to agree, right? And that was why DJ was great. He was our advocate. He cared about growing poker, but kind of the same as we've been saying about Park West jumping into the bike and potentially really trying to hack and slash costs everywhere. It feels like they're not going to see the impact during the LAPC, which is going to be bad, I think. Because I think that this is going to be a big impact, but over time, I think the next series will suffer. The series after that will suffer even more.
Yeah.
The series after that, unless they find a real all-star to jump in and take his place, the series after that will suffer even more. And then by next LAPC, we'll be back to like the year after COVID when it was barely a thing.
I mean, I think there's no way that they wouldn't get a good tournament director at Commerce. So hopefully, I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed. And we'll talk a little bit further on in a discussion about some stuff Amanda has been telling us about the future of the Commerce. I think that there is, some silver linings out there and some good things on the horizon. Hopefully, so we're keeping our fingers crossed. But let's just finish this before we get over to that.
Yeah, and fingers crossed for sure that like I said, those were great bright points, and I hope they're going to do things, but this is just such a big loss in my mind.
Yes, it is.
Especially just personally. DJ is the first tournament director I ever met here in LA. It's the first. My first tournament cashier, I think, actually was at LAPC 3 years ago. So it's big miss. We're talking about this huge thing. A couple weeks ago, we had that rumor that they were ousting Mo, and that they, we still aren't clear whether they're going to continue to do quantums. We at the bike, we had that rumor that they're not doing quantums anymore because of cost cutting as well. Like, what is this? Is it? Do these casino operators not understand the importance of a tournament director? Do they just not see the value? And what is the value? Well, it definitely seems like everybody's trying to cut costs, save money, make more money, whatever. But like these tournament directors, they do a lot, right? I mean, they do. For one, they're in charge of the overall vision of these poker series of poker, like how people are going to perceive poker tournaments at your casino, right? And then they are in charge of, from what I can tell, all the marketing and promotion. When to release the schedules, for instance, who to market through, what kind of messages to send. They have to be connected to the poker community here. They have to stay on top of all of that to know what, how the trends are moving, what players want. They have to tweak all their structures. So we said DJ spent a ton of time changing and doing things with his structures. But even if you're sticking to something more traditional, you still have to spend a lot of time making your schedules. You have to coordinate with all the other tournament directors, because here in LA, they, for the most part, don't stomp on each other. They coordinate somewhat with how things are going. They have to, they spend time at the event, running it somewhat, doing things at the event itself. They have to come up with all the side event or side promos at the series itself, like player of the series, like they're going to do, they did a thing at the bike where they're giving you buy-ins for entering a lot of times. I forget. For all that various stuff. And then you have to track it, because it's your idea. You're the one that's to track it.
Right.
You have to report everything. As we've noticed, it's a big deal when you don't report your results out, and people want to see that and are used to seeing that and getting that to Hendon. You have to stay up to date on what's up with the TDA. If you say you're a TDA rule follower, you have to make sure your staff is up on that. And if there's something important, and that's not even counting like coming up and making sure you have your trophies, getting your swag going, training people like that. And I'm sure there's tons more. This is just from what I observe, right? So
They are really like little mini CEOs and like almost like a COO, right, at these casinos, because they do everything right around poker tournaments. Like that is their thing, like that is their responsibility. It's like all of this stuff that we're talking about, and sometimes it just feels like an entire task list. But for somebody to tie all that together, it's really, really hard to do. And you're right. I'm again very sure that the Commerce Casino is going to bring in a tournament director to replace DJ. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be very hard to find somebody of DJ's caliber, but to be able to tie all this together really quickly, it's going to take time to kind of settle in and get all this stuff going.
Yeah, but the other thing to bring up is we don't know any of the numbers or whatnot, but we don't know if someone of DJ's caliber would want to do it for for whatever they're offering. We don't know what they're offering.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
maybe,
Yeah, especially if this was a cost-cutting measure, then we have to be worried about
maybe it was a
what you're
cost
going to be
cutting
able
measure.
to attract.
Right.
Yeah.
So if it was something like that, maybe they could find lots of people who would do it, but I don't know. What they have to pay for, you have to pay for quality, right? So who knows? Who knows? But I mean, for me, the value of a good tournament director seems obvious, right? But I don't know. What do you think? Like, a lot of these things could be done kind of administratively or by other people, right? Like you can farm some of it out to the marketing department, farm some of it out to I don't know.
I mean, you can have a bunch of people doing all these little things, but this is it's actually I'm going to compare this to my profession. So I'm not sure people know what I do for a living, but I'm a product manager. I'm a technology product manager. I've been doing it for a really long time. I've worked at Yahoo. I've worked at like AT&T, at startups, and now I'm at Microsoft. And this is actually kind of our job. Like, we do a little bit of research, we do a little bit of marketing, and even selling other products. But the core of what we do is we actually take our research and convert them into requirements. So we work with engineering to build, and then we have to actually go and get customers to go use the thing. So we're doing like a little bit of everything, right? It seems like sales, marketing, research, we're not actually doing the coding. So it feels like we're a bit of a jack of all trades. But I can tell you that technology companies without strong product managers tend to not do very, very well, especially if you have consumer facing products. So this is sort of the same thing as a tournament director. Sometimes you may undervalue somebody who's a bit of a jack of all trades and doing a lot of stuff, but the ones that are doing it really well, it's flawless, right? Like you see Matt Savage. He's a good example. And that's the reason why DJ is probably good. And I'm going to give DJ credit for just being good, but having to have had Savage as a mentor, right, definitely helps him a lot. And I think and I think also Justin Hammer is another one that came from sort of the Savage like school. So like these guys really, the guys who really know what they're doing and that are really, really good will just make things run really, really smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a amazing analogy. I really like that analogy of product manager for tournament director, because it'd be easy for an executive to come in and just say like, oh, well, let's see, the software developers are making the product, the marketing guy, we have an art department creating that stuff, we have a marketing department. So what do you do again? They just tell, they just report to you, right? they tell you what they're doing, and you say, yeah,
I just bring the donuts, buddy.
So what exactly would you say it is you do around here? But like you said, without that product manager, the software guys make one thing, everybody's just, there's no vision, like you said, and it hurts. It definitely hurts things. So I really hope that they can turn this around. Ideally, it'd be amazing if they could work something out to get DJ back, but if they don't, I'd really love to see them get somebody who's really passionate about it, who can still do this.
Wait, you got a lot of stuff happening in chat. Here's a Scala, you're right, and we mentioned this last time too, that the cost of doing business is very high in California, from rent to paying people to like all the licenses and regulations that we have. But still, I don't think the cost of doing business should sort of override like how big this market is and how much we can invest, all the expendable income that we have. Jesse, you're right that Baccarat killed poker. Stuart, it's sad news about DJ. So is this like the chainsaw slots? Because we saw Chainsaw say something similar, like lots of complaints by entitled pros. Is this the Chainsaw in chat?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if he comes back with that. The other thing I'm curious about is Thunder Valley's really been doing a push to increase and make their tournaments bigger, right, and more notable, and they've been doing a great job. And I'm curious if I believe that's a tribal casino, right? Thunder Valley, I think that's a tribal casino.
It is, yep.
So I'm curious, why don't any of the, Hamul does some tournaments, right? And Siquan does some, but neither of them are making the push that Thunder Valley is. I wonder if the laws are such that they have, if their cost of running tournaments, right, is somehow cheaper or better than for, like a commerce, like
they definitely get
it really is Kessler. Yeah, it says it really is. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Alan. We're going to talk about your structure argument with Ari later, so it's great to have you in the chat. That's awesome. And congratulations on the third place.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and welcome to LA. Glad to have you over here, and we love your Twitter account. We love all your posts about food. So yeah, you're awesome for the poker community. Yeah, it is that I think a lot of reservations in general outside of poker get a lot of benefits, right? And they should, right? They should, but based on all the history of everything that's been happening, so they probably do get some benefits here and there from running their businesses in a little bit more efficient way. But I guess we would know for sure without looking at their books. But still, overall, I think the cost of doing business should not. I mean, there are many companies that continue to operate in California, right? And are very, very successful relative to other places around the world. And it's because California also gives you other benefits in terms of the market that you have access to, right? That's why you're paying so much to do business here because of the market. So we have a huge market, 29 million people across Southern California, right? And a lot of people of that 29 million people have a crap ton of money, more money than I could even imagine ever having. So why are we not tapping into that for poker?
Yeah, absolutely. And that there was a lot of chatter about that sort of thing on Twitter this week as well from our local pros like Matt Salzberg, right?
Yeah,
This is kind of the common gripe from all of us kind of local know-it-alls, right? These management at these local card rooms feel like they've been, before COVID it was better, now it feels like they're ruining things. And we don't want to say they're ruining them, but we are pretty clear on our views here. We feel like we're disappointed at what they are doing, or they could do more, right? In this one, Salzberg, this tweet, he says that the management and higher ups here, being Commerce, have sadly ruined what was once a premier venue for tournaments with their short-sighted nickel and diming and spineless fear of overlays.
yeah,
This $600 had $100 rake and still doubled the guarantee. And this
right.
entire, we pointed it out last week, this entire LAPC on all the major events and most of the minor ones, they really have been doubling the guarantees, like easily
Yeah.
almost. And
I mean, like that's a good sign for the popularity and attendance, but means that you are setting your guarantees way too effing low, right? Imagine you put a 750K guarantee on that 400. How many people would have come up from San Diego to play that? How many people who are playing at their local casinos be like, oh, wow, I should go give that one a shot, right? I bet you that 700K that we got or 710 or whatever it was would have been 850, 900, right? Maybe even a million, right? If you had set that at 750. So this is what I mean is we're leaving money on the table with these guarantees, and it's very upsetting.
yeah. Now, Chainsaws in the comments recommending you don't run daily 250s during your Premier Series. I actually
Right.
agree with that. I agree. I think we mentioned
Right.
that
We've
before.
been
It
saying
was
that. We've been saying that constantly.
yeah, it's like if you're gonna run another event, run another flight. It's kind of confusing, but
And
um,
Alan, what's actually happening is that sometimes they are doing no day ones for the big events on a weekend, right? All the day ones are like Monday through Friday. They do the day two on Saturday to accommodate a one day on a Sunday, which is just absolutely bananas. Like, why are they doing that? And this isn't just the Commerce, right? This is, I feel like, the
yeah, we've
Commerce and the
seen the
Bike and
bike do
other casinos
this
are doing.
multiple times as well.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very
it's
weird.
silly. Yeah.
Yep. And then just to finish off Salzberg's tweet, I wanted to point out, he talks about them removing the 3 million guaranteed on the main. They never announced one this year. I don't know if they had a guarantee last year. I think it was only 1 million on it. And I know that this
Yeah.
year DJ wanted a 3 million guarantee on the main, our 10K, and that is what he was telling kind of us, us who talk with him. He was saying he's hoping to get that, and he was not approved for that. So they didn't really remove it so much as they denied it, right? So just want to
Yeah.
point that out, and to the people in the comments who are all up in arms about it. They didn't remove a guarantee. The management didn't approve it. There was never a guarantee on the
Yeah.
schedule for the main, which is terrible. That's bad, but they didn't remove it, so it's not that kind of bad. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So what can we do? I mean, if we could give suggestions to the rooms around here, what would we say? Like, how do we have any
Yeah.
ideas? How can we help these guys, or is there, what is holding us back now?
I mean, one silver bullet is just raising your guarantees. If you will just put in the budget to raise guarantees, recognize how big the Southern California market is and how many people that you can get. And yes, you're going to risk missing a guarantee here and there, but this is for the growth of, it's like, not only for the growth of the poker community, but think about all the other things that kind of happen when you become, when you actually kind of return to what the LAPC was, right? Do you start to get more money from sponsorships? Do from all the poker players that you're bringing over here, especially ones that are traveling? Are you filling up your hotel, right? How much are you selling with food, right? Are these a bunch of degens going there and grinding your cash games and your table games too, right? There's so many things that can happen from bringing poker players here outside of just the immediate rake that you get. That obviously we should be committing. But this is a good segue into Amanda, right? So we talked about Amanda Botfeld Again, super excited to have a poker player and a poker insider working at the Commerce now, right? She's the new marketing and communications manager, and she has told us that right now it does seem like the Commerce leadership is committed to poker in the long run. That's what she's telling us, right? It seems like they do. They have a lot of exciting things coming in terms of like their investments and in terms of like their promotions and things like that. And this is for the Commerce overall, not just poker. It just feels like poker is also going to be a big part of that. So yeah, like outside of all the things that have been happening, and I think all the observations are accurate, right? They do align with how I think I've been seeing things. I'm sure how Ty you've been seeing things. It does seem like DJ had been handcuffed up to this point, but it does seem like maybe we are at a turning point with the Commerce. So we'll definitely be looking for more details from Amanda and the group, and super excited to have her here and already being so communicative with the community. But so we'll see what happens. But I think that it's not all doom and gloom. It does seem like at least there might be some good things happening in the Commerce in the future.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm still, obviously I'm still hopeful, optimistic, but the engineer in me just likes to point out all the things that are obviously
Right.
like rubbing me the wrong way. I think that Commerce has all the pieces
Yeah.
that they need to do something really great, right? We still have the rumor that's been floating around since for months that Commerce might be getting circuit events sometime this year, and that still hasn't died. The people I've brought that up with have not denied it. They've been coy about it, so I still think that's a solid rumor. I think that is one thing the casinos around here could do. Like, we used to be a premier WPT spot, right? We used to get circuit
Absolutely.
events at the bike a couple times
Yeah.
a year. We had two premier WPTs that people traveled for, right? Like you said, if we can get more people to travel here, the revenue they'll add. I mean, if you could get 300 chainsaws in your hotel, that's going to increase your
Right.
revenue, right? Um,
Right.
and then the other thing that Commerce has now that's kind of unique is that they've got that Bally's streaming room. Are they going to be able to use that? Because I think it does
Yeah.
matter. That if you could use that to stream some of these final tables, some of these bigger events, that's
Yeah.
marketing. That's the kind of marketing that
Yeah. That's where you're
someone
gonna
might see
get.
that if you had a big WPT, we put it on TV like we used to, you get it on the stream like
Yeah.
we used to, and people will start aspiring to want to be playing in that, and they'll come here, right?
Yeah. You stream poker tournaments, man. The local players will go crazy for that to be able to watch other local players playing.
Yeah.
But this actually opens you up for the opportunity to get sponsorships, to get advertising. Plaster some stuff on all over the table and all over the walls for that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, Commerce, I believe they don't own that. Bally's does, but it's in the Commerce. I feel like they should be able to work out some kind of
Yeah.
something, right?
Right.
So, like I said, just suggestion. I feel like Commerce has all the right pieces there. It's just like you need
Yeah.
someone with that vision to execute. So here's
Yeah, we got
hoping.
Wayne and chat saying last year's LAPC the great numbers. So why the hesitation this year? And I do think it is just a hesitation from being afraid to miss a guarantee. They think that just setting guarantees low, but a lot of people are going to come out anyway. But that's really just in my opinion, and I think in a lot of our opinions, that's just the wrong view to take, because it's not just they're going to come anyway, but if you set it higher, you're going to get more people to come, right?
Mhm.
Yes, there's a little bit of a risk there of missing a guarantee here and there, but you could be leaving 100K, 200K on the table per one of these big tournaments by not setting those guarantees higher.
Yep, and Caitlin Jeffers in the chat is pointing out that last year the bike still had one series that was a ring event series, but their second one that they usually had was not, and they had
Was
the
there
WPT
a circuit?
in March, right? The March one was still a circuit event.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we did still have the WPT event at the Gardens last year. Now this year, the bike's March event has been confirmed in. If you look in the thread where Mo announced the winning in the green dates, like the period of it, people were asking constantly about the circuit. It's not a circuit event, and the WPT is still unconfirmed, if you ask me, for the Gardens for this year. Now it's not, it hasn't been confirmed either way. I until there's a schedule and it's out, I'm not positive. Now I would say it's more likely than not, especially more likely than the Legends becoming a WPT again. But I don't think that's 100% confirmed this year either.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I've completely lost all sense of time. I felt like there hasn't been a WSOP event in year and year, so we had one last year.
It's
Just
been
like
one
forgot.
year. Yeah, it's been one year. Okay. Um, So yeah, once again, it was huge news. DJ's out at Commerce.
Yeah,
He left.
big
He's
one.
not no longer with Commerce. We're gonna, hopefully in the coming weeks and months, we'll get more information. Maybe we'll be able to get someone from Commerce, whether it's Amanda or someone else, on to talk about just what their plan is for the going forwards.
Yep.
But yeah, I think, I don't know.
We're gonna miss you, DJ.
Yep, absolutely. We're definitely gonna miss you. Stay in touch.
It's
Can't wait to
definitely a
see you.
small world though. So I'm sure that we're gonna run into you again very, very soon. You are too talented of a dude to not to find work instantaneously.
For sure, for sure. All right, so let's move on to something. Let's move on to the next topic, which just so happens to be Alan's the chainsaw approved structures for the mixed games here. So
Yeah, here we go.
yeah, so we have the man in the chat, so we'll be able to get some feedback hopefully. But the point was, there are two schools of thought here. Alan's chainsaw approved structures, he loves these structures, and then Ari, Mr. Ari Engel. Oops, is that not the right one?
Yeah, this is the Craig one.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Ari. He's saying the structures are way too slow, and he says it's more player friendly. For after 6 hours, you have more than 5 people bust. Where Alan's argument is that for a $1,100 buy-in, this is exactly the way the tournament should play out. Craig Chait, I believe, falls on. Here we go. Yep. He falls on Ari's side. He says it is way too
faster.
slow. He says 15 players in 8 hours is not a good pace. So
Yeah, they got Adam and Chad kind of saying the same thing, that they wanted to move. And I don't know anything about mixed games, so
right, we are not mixed game players. Derek and I have each played exactly one mixed game tournament, and I won our last longer. And
he did win the last longer. It was very upsetting to me.
So I'm sorry, you said Adam is going which way with his?
He's also going the Ari and Craig a little bit
Should be a
faster
little
way.
bit faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think Alan makes some compelling points about, how they made it to the final table, when it ended. And again, I think it's reflective of the overall series, where it's just like these things are incredibly structured and still ending up at a reasonable time. So, yeah.
Yeah. So the event itself ended up being a 2-day event. They came back, I believe, when they were in the money with 5 left, and it took another. I can't find the tweet now. Alan can remind us, but it took a decent amount of time to finish up from 5, I believe. Now, I kind of think that this is more, unfortunately, the event was somewhat hurt by the rain. So obviously here in SoCal, we're getting hit with uncharacteristic amount of rain. Right. And I feel like the thing with a lot of these structures, yeah, Jesse says you can't make everyone happy. Obviously, that's true. So the point I'm going to make is I feel like a lot of these structures behave a lot differently depending on how many people enter the tournament. I feel like a lot of structures break down if it becomes an insanely massive field, because then at the end it will become that shove fest no matter what. And a lot of structures maybe are the opposite, where this one was not quite as optimized for a very small field. Maybe if you had a larger field, 150 players, 200 players, you would have had a more reasonable rate of bust outs.
That's true.
Chip accumulation would have been
very
fine,
true.
And we would have gotten to certain spots at different times.
Or it could be also possible that this thing would have taken forever with more people, and they just kind of ended because there wasn't enough people. But now that I'm thinking about it, I actually am laughing a little bit, like picturing like Adam and Ari and Craig sitting there with their heads in their hands, like, oh my God, we're not busting anybody. And Alan just sitting there like eating a chicken sandwich or something and cackling because of the structures kind of going like how he wants. That actually makes me laugh a little bit.
Adam says that he likes the slow structure overall, but even for him, it was a little slow. So
if I was there, I would have walked up to you every 5 minutes, like, hey, have you busted anyone yet? That's what I would have been doing in that room.
Yeah, but then he would ask you to hold one of his Remingtons and
just keep rubbing a Remington on his forehead.
So, we're not mixed game players, so we can't say for sure. But let's say if this was like a Hold'em tournament, and for some reason you started. So I read about a tournament. I'm not sure if it's happened yet or not, but I read about a tournament that's going to start with 100 blinds with a 100K starting stack. I was just seeing saw that on Twitter. I think it hasn't happened yet. And I think that's absurd, and it's kind of a gimmick. So an event an event like that, making the whole and I think it's going to be a full 2 or 3. I think it's been like a 3-day event or something, and it's not that expensive. So I guess I'm kind of on the side of, well, other than my hedge of maybe it just not enough people showed up, I'm kind of on the side of I think that a 39 player tournament should have probably only been 1 day long.
Yeah,
That's kind of where
that
I'm
does
at.
seem very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does actually seem a little bit long for 39 people.
Yeah, and maybe it was 45. I know only five people cashed, so it was at 8%. Because this picture that I'm looking at here was from earlier in the day, perhaps. But there weren't many more. Only 5 people cashed. So
Look at this fucking guy Adam in a China bagging, so it's hard to play and type at the phone at the same time. Are you kidding me, dude?
nice brags, Adam.
Uh,
Yeah. So they. Oh no. He's saying they bagged at 1. They bagged at 1. Yeah, and like I said, it's normal, but a tournament of 39 players, it feels like it really should be just 1 day.
maybe like a 1K. Maybe a 1K should be 2 days regardless. I don't know.
It's interesting with inflation. Now, the other thing I kind of want to bring up is, the next topic that we're going to bring up here just so happens to be Jonathan Little crushing the PokerGO Cup. He got 2 straight up wins, including the 25K win. And, congratulations to him and congratulations to all of pokercoaching.com. They had a massive showing. Between all their pokercoaching.com coaches, they had 10 final tables. So, but the thing I want to point out was these PokerGO events, for the most part, these are 1-day events. When I watch their coverage and I see the big blinds they have at the final tables, it kind of feels like they're really not that much different than our 1-day structures.
They're very short for high rollers, and this is I think just because like they can't just have a TV final table going for like 10 hours or something like that.
Right.
So,
and I also have seen some of these guys. Someone was complaining about the structures there, but then everyone else was jumping. Honestly, it may have been Alan again complaining about the structures there, but everyone else jumped and said, no, the pros want them this way. They like them being 1 day long, and they want to get these things done, right? So, and I feel like if it's a 1 day, their structures must be similar to, for instance, our Sunday 400 1-days, right? Like they have to be pretty similar to those. So it's very interesting. You play a 10K event and it's like a daily, it's like a good daily structure, but still it's a 1-day structure.
Yeah, I mean there's like this obsession now with a lot of poker tournament pros about their hourly rate, right? So to be able to get all the way to that final table and close that thing in 1 day versus like 3 days is probably attractive to them, even if it maybe negates some skill edge. But again, when you're talking about these fields, and that's what's so impressive about what Jonathan Little did. I mean, these fields are freaking stacked, right? This is like literally the best of the best in the world, and you're going toe to toe with them for like a week.
Yeah, absolutely. And he crushed it.
Scala's saying that it's a 1 day, but the final table is the next day. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Okay. So even still, it's a 10K where the event is a day and a final table. So that seems.
Yeah, it's fast.
But the point is, people are okay with that. So a very, very, very long structure is not necessarily the gold standard anymore,
Right.
Now, on these types of structures, there's going to be you get a lot more bubbles on them. And Nick Schulman apparently had something he got into with John Little on one of these bubbles. I think it was one of the events he won.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because basically what happened was that Nick was very, very short on the bubble. He ended up getting it with queens against like some other garbage hand, or maybe I don't remember. He hit like some like pair against like queen X or queen 8 or queen 9 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jonathan Little was walking by on a like a move, like he was moving from another table, and he sort of rooted for the card that would bust Nick. Came and Nick's like, well, how about that card? Is that okay, John? And he was actually kind of a little bit upset about it because John was like kind of wishing for him to bust. But then in this video, Nick's like, you know what? I actually kind of respect the guy, right? Because a lot of people try to act like, oh, we feel bad for the players that are busting, but really inside everyone is rooting for that person to bust, so you make the money because that's what makes everybody happy. But yeah, I think that there is a little bit of that in poker where people are. I think you can generally feel bad for people while still kind of hoping for the best for yourself, right? In terms of just like busting the bubble and making it into money. But it was an interesting little experiment.
Yeah. No, and Caitlin Jepper says the hands were Schulman actually had aces.
Aces first versus queen 9, on the bubble. That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, and queen 9 must have flopped a pair. Yep. No, there's a lot of unique situations in tournament poker that I like, makes me like it more than cash games. I feel like in tournament poker, it's a lot easier to honestly root for other people and therefore kind of be friendlier with other people, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
like you said, all these crushers winning these things and doing great, that honestly, that doesn't take any money away from you, you know? Like, especially if you did in day two this time, for instance, that whoever wins doesn't take a penny out of your pocket. You didn't make it.
That's
And
true.
even if we did play kind of deep, someone winning, the only time it really matters is if they specifically beat you in a hand. If they're at the next table over and you get busted and they end up winning, you can still root for them very honestly. It's not like it didn't really even affect you in a lot of cases, right? So same
Yeah,
thing here. You can kind of, I mean, I can root for the bubble boy to break without it being personal. It's not like I'm trying to bad beat him personally, take his chips. Somebody, it happens to all of us, right? And we all, I think that's the other thing about tournament players is, as Nick points out, we all honestly know we're there to win the tournament. We know we're
yeah,
there to
right.
try and quote unquote play the best, be the best, win. It's not like cash players where we're like, oh, we're just having fun. Oh, let's just run it twice. Oh, yeah, man, that guy, like you're a cool guy. That's why I want to play with you. Ha ha. No, we are at the tournament. We want to win. We all
Right,
know we're all there
right.
for competition, and I like that. It's a lot more. It's a lot more upfront, a lot
Yeah,
more honest, and you can root for someone to bust because they'll do it to you, and it's fine. It's not like
right. You know what? Like when I bad beat people out of a big pot, I actually genuinely feel bad. So when I'm saying like, I tap the table, I'm like, yeah, sorry about that, buddy. Nice. And I actually genuinely feel bad, even if I'm excited about raking in a big
oh
pot,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's gonna give me more success in a tournament. It's okay to have both those feelings at the same time. That's not impossible.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Is one of the things I like is that, like Shulman points out, we can be more upfront about the competition because
Yeah.
when you're like that at a cash game, people always stand up, and then you get this whole, I don't know, you get one person calling someone a nerd and someone else shouting, you think you're better than me, and then all of a sudden it's like the game
Right.
stops, right?
Yeah. We
uh,
got Edgar in chat. F patty cake poker. So he just wants just
Blood,
to
let's
turn
go.
the dial up all the way
Absolutely.
at all times. We
um,
also got Xander saying that he started off playing at studying at poker coaching.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah, I mean Xander, you got a really good base. So obviously pokercoaching.com must be a good site.
I love those. I've watched probably. I've watched so much of their free content.
Mm.
They put out so much great stuff for starter, for beginner to intermediate for free. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So connected to that, last week we talked about how it felt like John Little was going out and kind of spite winning. Kind of the way Derek's inspiring everyone to win Remingtons. John just went out and was like, "Hey, Berkey, check this out. I'm gonna win." So as we also pointed out, John didn't really engage much in that argument, but you know who did? Who, Dnegs. He just can't keep out of it.
Mr. Dnegs. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's attracted to all the drama all the time.
Yeah.
And John Little, to his credit, like not only is he running a great poker site, very successful poker player, but he's just kind of stays above the fray, right? He's very professional about everything. So yeah, one of the good guys definitely had won this Poker Go series.
Yeah. And a little background that came out a little later in the argument that kind of connects why Dnegs might have gotten a little bristled and taken this a little personal is that actually that tweet was, I guess, a quote from something he said at one of the final tables that they were televising. That whole, like fold ace 10 on this board in this situation because of this or that. It was actually something that Dnegs said, and it was being quoted and just not really attributed. So when Berkey was saying, this is ridiculous, Dnegs probably took that as he's saying what I said was ridiculous, so now I have to defend my position, right? So
I
he
see.
jumped in
Yeah.
there. Yep. So he jumped in there, and they got into a little arguing match about most everything, fighting about the comment first, and then talking about, um, Daniel was talking about like ICM this or that, and then Berkey was like, "Oh, we know ICM, we teach it all the time." And then D-Nex, "Oh, well, why would anyone want to learn from you?" He says, "Makes perfect sense. Why waste time learning from proven high stakes crushers?" And then he names basically the top 10 money
Yeah.
earners on Ended Mob. And he says, "Trust us. We don't play tournaments, but we know everything there is to know," in reference to Berkey and
Yeah.
his crew.
This got very, very spiteful.
Yeah, it's got a lot of momentum here. So they did a little bit of stuff. Got into a little bit back and forth here, memeing each other, posting scoreboards, etc., etc. But you know, one of the things we were kind of Eric Haber right off the bat here kind of gets at one of the things we want to point out is like, is that being at the top of the Hendon cash, does that really make you the best coach? Really, is that really who you need to get coaching from necessarily?
Yeah. And people have actually asked me for coaching before, and I've kind of told them like I don't coach, but I actually don't know if I'd be a good coach. I might be a good player, but I don't know if I can explain my thought process in a super structured way to be able to do it. So just because you're a good player doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a great coach. And also, there are good coaches that just understand theory really well and can explain it to you really well, and that's kind of actually what you need.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've always been of that mind. You know, I always shake my head and just, I don't want to say dismiss, but I really think there's something wrong with the thinking of the people who think, well, the only person I want to learn from is the champion, the best, the whatever. It's like, maybe you don't know if you want to learn from them.
I can tell you, I can guarantee you Phil Ivey's a shit coach. Right. He's the best. He might be the best of all time, but I feel like it would be a terrible coach, right? So I think this would be a good example. Yeah.
I mean, the person I want to learn from is I want to learn from the champion's coach, not the champion necessarily, right?
Right.
That's what I want to learn from. And there are so many sites out there, and especially for us at our kind of, 1K level or 500 or, local level, you don't necessarily want to be learning from, I don't know, Chris Brewer or Foxen. They might teach you how to play at PokerGO Studio in the 10K. That might not help you very much, right? I mean, it'll make you a better player, but it might not make you as big a winner as, say, coaching with like, I don't know, Fausto or someone around here would, right?
And they don't know about Fred, 4-betting in 75 bigs over a 4-big raise,
Yeah, absolutely. They don't know
about that.
They don't. What are they going to say? They're going to say,
"What your solver going to do there, buddy?"
I would be curious what they say there. They'd probably be like, "Is rebuy open?" I don't know. I don't know how to even put that into a solver.
I mean, I get it that everybody grinded up from those levels, but at some point you were probably just a little bit too far away from that, right? You've been away from that for too long, and I think even being able to play the World Series main event, which is kind of like one of those tournaments for a 10K, you just have to be in and day out to recognize some of those patterns and some of that craziness.
So Caitlin Jeffers watched some of Ivy's masterclass, and they said that he just straight up says, "I don't know how to teach stuff" during it.
I mean, that's not surprising, right? Like I just don't see him as a good teacher, even though he's obviously one of the best of all time.
Yeah. So, it got kind of ugly. If you're interested in some drama between these two, go ahead, watch that. They addressed it a bit in Monday's Only Friends podcast as well, if you want to hear a little more on Berkey's side. So go ahead, hop on, enjoy the drama. And if you like drama, we've got some local drama for you. So it seems like it's not even Halloween, but this thing just keeps coming back from the dead. Maybe it's because Garrett's going to supposedly be playing over at Commerce pretty soon. But when the Ludacris tweet came out, someone was playing, Ludacris cracked someone's aces, and the guy got upset and accused him of cheating on the Hustler Casino live stream. Yep. That went on Twitter, and Garret got on that thread. He just said a few things, and then he and Ryan Feldman really got into it, and it culminated in a very heated space. And I'm just going to play the very peak crescendo of their argument.
I haven't heard any of this space. I'm actually really looking forward to listening to this with everyone else, because this sounds really funny.
This is a really long, you can find this. You go search this. It is the YouTube channel is Dog Poker, but I'm just going to play a minute of the clip. This is the very end here.
Posted a screenshot, and on accident it shows the rating scale. Like, I mean, who are we fooling here? You got to be dumb as fucking rocks to not understand, like, their elementary strategy to, like, try to make me look bad on the internet,
Yeah, I'm dumb as rocks, and you're the guy who accidentally banned yourself from playing on shows, and, like, you're
dude, because you and I couldn't be more the opposite, dude. I don't give a fuck about money. I don't give a fuck.
Then why did you fucking take 135,000 from the girl if you don't care about money, you fucking liar?
Because it's obviously the fucking right thing to do, because I was fucking cheated in the hand,
the right
dude.
thing to do, it's okay to take money from people.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. We all knew exactly what happened with Postel. And when she offered me the money, which you damn well know happened, that was the moment that, like, I realized this is the only opportunity, like, justice will ever fucking be served.
Yeah. So they got into it. If you want to hear more of that, there's about an hour, or this clip is about 24 minutes long, and it's just Garret and Ryan arguing back and forth about everything from back in the the live at the bike days, what happened with Ludacris there, and then more of the Robbie stuff and just not playing.
So angry. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, they were super heated by the end of that.
Yeah, I've actually never, like, literally every poker space I've ever been on, I'm usually just like, I'm out of here in about 5 seconds. I think there's only been a couple that I really stuck on, like, ever. And I obviously I don't think I've seen things to that level, but that's crazy.
I only watched a couple at the kind of the peak of the Berkey airball stuff when they were really getting into it with each other. And then I just listened to this clip here of this one because they go on forever. But wow, so you want to hear more Hustler Casino drama? You want to hear more Garret drama? Look up the thread from that Hustler Casino clip when I don't remember his name, but somebody accused Luda of cheating, and check all those tweets and go ahead, find Dog Poker, find this. I can put this link out on our Twitter or something like that if people are interested, and we can send that link out. Someone clipped out the best parts, so just another day in SoCal Cash Games. No big deal.
Yeah, so we got Caitlin saying that Bertucci's being creeped towards Arden Cho. Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Arden's
you don't
actually,
say. I've said this before. Arden's actually, a friend of mine. We used to play poker a lot at the Commerce back in the day when she was like playing cash games. Played a couple of turns with her. And it was really unfortunate what happened when she made that final table on PokerGO. But then, it's just stupid shit. Don't be doing that to people and to women at the table.
When that drunk guy gave her all the most stereotypical offensive drunk guy lines, probably exactly what Bertucci's doing right now. Yeah,
but it's just a good glimpse as to what, I mean, I think things have obviously gotten better over time, but women do experience a lot of that kind of stuff at the tables, and it's just super unfortunate.
Yeah, and we'll be able to dive into that topic maybe a little bit better in a week or so. I believe we have a guest lined up. Maybe don't put it on your calendar yet, but we're pretty sure we're going to have a guest that can speak on that. Is it next week we're hoping to have her on?
Yeah, let me go confirm with her if she can make it, but we do have a potential big guest, if not next week, then soon coming up.
So,
I know somebody at the community that really dialed in, and hope she'll be able to come on.
Yeah, stay tuned for that, and keep your eye on our socials. We'll let you know when we have that all confirmed. All right. Well, that was a lot. There's a lot going on this week.
Wow, I mean, unbelievable. It's not just what's happening outside of the LA poker ecosystem, but man, all of this stuff at the Commerce. But again, we feel like really terrible about DJ, but we know that he's going to land somewhere good. But just definitely reach out to him, hit him up on Twitter if you have his phone. Give him a text or a call. Send him your best wishes and thank him if you really like all the stuff that he did for us at the Commerce.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, let him know we support him and we miss him. I am definitely gonna miss DJ. Miss seeing DJ over there. So let's just wrap things up with the weekly roundup. So it's gonna be a short one this week because, as you know, there's something else happening this weekend. Something with a ball and like a pop star. I don't know. That's right. Chinese New Year is happening this weekend. So that's gonna.
Right.
And also the Super Bowl will be happening. So this weekend, what is there to play if you were to play? Well, over here at Commerce, we have the wrap-up of the Year of the Dragon Mystery Bounty. Now, this is a very difficult tournament to play if you have a job, because in order to play it, you need to be able to play day 2 on Friday.
Now,
hold on a second. it's so hard to tell where we are in the dates because the results are no longer there. So they have day ones for this going on tomorrow and Thursday. It is at all these day ones start at 4 p.m. So at least you can play the day ones. That's, they probably did that to give people with a job a chance. Now, the one thing I am personally keeping an eye on, there's two things. One, I don't really like mystery bounties. And I heard, I think I saw on Twitter, someone from, I think it might have actually been Amanda, she said there's a good chance that the big bounty is going to be $25,000. I do not like that. That is way too big. If this only gets to 200K, that's 12.5% of the prize pool. I don't like that. I hate that.
I was telling some players that there would be like a 10K top prize. And they're like, really? And I was like, yeah. They didn't even understand how the mystery bounty works. I was explaining it to them, but 25K seems a little bit out of bounds.
Yeah, and it, maybe that's not correct. I'm hoping it's not, but I thought I should have looked a little harder. I was running out of time. I should have found it. I thought I saw someone say that they thought it would be 25K. If that's true, I don't like it. The way the breakdown is, it's $100, I believe, towards the mystery bounty and $230 towards the prize pool, which means if this is if this is a 200K prize pool, that means that it's
80 or 90K.
Yes, which means that it's going to be it's going to be a ridiculous amount of the bounty pool. So I don't know.
There's no way it could be 25K. That's not possible. But 80, 90K is the bounties.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible. But that's what someone might have said, and that's that's just kind of a case of it's why you need a tournament director responding to questions like that, because they know how the tournaments work, right? But either way, the other thing I'm going to be looking at is, so far this event has had about 300 and about 300 entries. Honestly, they had 143 on the first day, the Sunday night, and I think they had around 80 on Monday, and they've had 87 tonight. So they've only had about
that's not bad
300 entries so far, but they need 7. I did the math a second ago. They need 572 for the guarantee, and they only have
572 more.
No, total, because it's a pretty small guarantee, right? 188,000.
Okay.
So that's 2 more nights to get to the guarantee, though, because Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday's the day 2.
So so right now we are up to 143 plus 160, it would be 300. So they need about 250, 270 people more.
Right. So
over the next 2 days.
And we do still have, it's still raining. It'll rain a bit tomorrow. I think it's supposed to slow down, but they will likely hit it. But if they don't, and they're far, I think they will, because if they do another 80 tomorrow, right, then they need 100 and something. And if we're sniffing a guarantee, people come out
on a Thursday. Okay. Yeah.
The Thursday flight for the 40-40 was bigger than the other flights. The Thursday flight was 200. I got through. I should know. It was 240 something. And it was ramping up. So it was 200 on Wednesday, 240 on Thursday. So it did ramp up a little. So I think they'll hit it, but just barely, and that's not super exciting for me because I don't like mystery bounties. So honestly, for the rest of this roundup, I might go to the Gardens and play the daily and try and get up to the next tier in that 50. So here's the thing you really need to know for this weekend if you are looking to play tournaments. The dailies at the Gardens and at Hollywood Park are not going to be happening on Super Bowl Sunday. If you want to play on Super Bowl Sunday, they do have 2 trophy events at Commerce. Commerce will not be having tournaments on the Saturday, which is the Chinese New Year. So if you want to play on Saturday, you can go to most of the regular dailies around town, Hollywood Park and the Gardens, Lucky Lady. If you want to play on Sunday, you go to Commerce, or I believe Lucky Lady. They didn't post anything about not having any events. For me, I could see one of these Sunday events being a good time to try and get to Remington. I could definitely see one of them being lightly attended, so maybe that would be a good one. And they're they're cheaper events. They're $250s.
What is the Sunday?
At Commerce?
It is
there's 2
one-day
events
event.
And it's $250s.
I see. Yeah.
Yep.
I was kind of looking forward to sitting on my couch and eating pizza, watching Super Bowl.
Oh, Rich,
you know what? I am. I am a big fan of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Like, seeing the two of them together make me really happy, and I don't understand people that are getting upset about them. But anyways, I've never really cared about Kansas City before, but like the people hating on Taylor Swift have made me actually root for Kansas City, and also the people that hate Brock Purdy on San Francisco make me root for Brock Purdy. So I'm actually excited to watch Super Bowl this weekend. So I think I'm probably gonna have to.
I am not excited to watch Super Bowl, but I do really love all of the drama and whiners about the Taylor Swift stuff. It's like, why do you care? Why are you mad? Are you know what it is?
Right.
Are you upset that a pretty girl is enjoying a thing that you thought was only for you?
Right.
You weird guys, because. But the thing I really love is just all the people are saying, you're whining about Taylor Swift. She was literally on screen for 15
for
seconds
4 seconds
or something. Yeah,
Right.
like 10
Right.
seconds, and you're whining. Like, get her. She's just living rent free in your head, man, because she was on TV for like less than 15 seconds. I mean,
And
come
for me,
on.
I love watching her celebrate because it feels like she's not familiar with football, and then now she's like dating one of the best tight ends of all time, and then she's attracting so many more people to the game. Right, we would love to have a Taylor Swift and poker come and like bring that many people into poker. But yeah, I think I'm probably gonna I think this is gonna be my week off, skipping the mystery bounty, probably skipping those 1 days.
Okay, well,
and the next thing I play is gonna be that 1K, which I am gonna ship, by the way. So
when I get both of the Remingtons that Sunday, I'll make sure to send you a picture because I'll hold it like a football.
if somebody I know wins Remington on Sunday, I think that there is going to be some face murdering.
Well, I definitely have to go now. So next week they will be continuing to hold their 1-day events. It looks like they are actually. Nope. Oh, okay, so there's a 1-day event on Monday. I'm not sure why it's a $400 event, but it is on Monday. I don't think Monday's a holiday or anything, right? I know the Super Bowl's kind of like a holiday, but and this is at Commerce. I'm back at Commerce, guys. And then after that, it's all satellites. They're running satellites. They'll be running satellites for the 1K, which starts that week. So next week is the big, very exciting $1,200 buy-in, 1 million guarantee that they're going to have 2 flights all weekend long. I guess Monday is like President's Day, which I don't have off, but they're making that the day too.
This is going to be a massive one, and DJ had estimated. He actually said on Twitter that he estimates this is going to get 1.8. So you're looking at a $2 million tournament for a 1K. So definitely get out there if you can't afford the 1K. Play all the satellites to get in. I would prioritize that tournament next week over anything else. I mean, I think I'm going to skip the main just because I can't just be taking off from work so much. That 1K next week is, in my opinion, the 1K next week is our main event.
Absolutely. I really consider this the main event of the LAPC, especially with no guarantee on the 10K. With they don't have multiple day ones where they're not planning it to be very large. I gotta shout out in the comments. I laughed while you're talking. These guys, Jesse's demotivating me from going to try and get any points for the 50K free roll. Jesse down there has 130 points for the free roll already.
130 points. What
130
the heck?
points. How do you get that many points? Max late regging for every tournament, Jesse. I don't understand. I got my points the good old fashioned way, firing 5 or 6 bullets in the winter series per event.
I think this is also important for why you need to put the player of the series points up, and hopefully the whoever is over there, the commerce, going to get that stuff up. I feel like Sean Yu might be running away with this thing, and people just have no idea. This dude is final tabling like every one of those mixed events. So
I think Adam is, because he just keeps winning. That's what I think.
I think Adam literally might be like 50 or 60 points behind Sean. So it's I don't know what's happened over the last week, but
all I know is that Adam keeps throwing Remingtons in your face. So
that's true. It's just whirlwinding them in my face, and he bagged too. So there's a chance he's gonna get another one tomorrow. You know what? I'm gonna root for the dude, but just still be.
I think he might have just been correcting a typo, but that doesn't mean he might not win one tonight still.
That's true.
Caitlin Jeffer is saying that Hustler is starting a 1-3 PLO on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. $40 to $200 buy-in. I have some friends that would be interested in that. I'll make sure they know. Okay, yeah. Frank's yelling at Jesse. He says, "Way to scare away the fishes." Well, I'll still go. I just might not get the points, because what's the point of what's the difference between having 5,000 or 6,000 chips if Jesse has 12,000?
Right. It's not like a zero-sum game, where like there's like a one winner or something. You're just going there to try to accumulate chips, and you know what happens. You win a flip or two, and all of a sudden you got the Jesse stack too.
And speaking of those guys you think are on the top of the leaderboard, Frank is giving us the field reporting. Frank, you are our field reporter. I love it. Thank you. He's saying that Sean is leading, and Jake or Adam is second. How? I'm guessing he's there.
Yeah, Adam, good job, buddy. If you're in second place now, because I thought that you were around eighth, but yeah, nice.
No, I think he means. Oh wait, Frank, are you talking about the player of the series? Or you talk about the event going on, whatever event's happening right now. I thought he was talking about whatever event's happening right now.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Actually, Frank, what are you talking about? Is that
Yeah.
player of the series, or is that this current event?
So yeah, Caitlin, this chat should be full of the strangers you see playing at all the local events. We are not casino bound. We go wherever the action is. But Jesse
That's
is
right.
definitely a major Gardens grinder, it seems like. So all right. So that is all we have for you this week. That is the roundup. That is what's happening on this Super Bowl weekend. So
That was exhausting. That was an absolutely exhausting episode. So much stuff going
Yeah,
on. But
absolutely.
for all the but negativity that we see in the poker community, and I think it's warranted negativity towards how we think commerce has been underinvesting in poker and not promoting poker tournaments and not putting in guarantees. It seems like we're getting positive signals from somebody who is a poker player in Amanda, right? Who's somebody who is one of us, right? She's one of us that's working at the commerce right now. So for her to kind of stand up and say, hey, it looks like a lot of good stuff is coming, I believe that. So hopefully we'll have some good stuff in the future. But then obviously, super sad to see DJ go and hope that he lands somewhere good soon.
Yeah. We'll definitely keep our eyes out and keep in contact with him. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. We had our special guest celeb in the chat for a minute there, Chainsaw Kessler. So thanks to everyone who was watching. Hope everybody, we got everybody caught up, and we can't wait to, we can't wait to get out there, hit that 1K, get out there and enjoy our weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
Remember, if you win a Remington, tag Derek. We've got to motivate this guy.
If you want to win a Remington, you can also tag me and tell me you have your imposter syndrome, and that's a cheat code right now.
That's right. I got to write that tweet up right now. So, guys, thanks for tuning in, and until next time,